Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Beth Ann, and today I am doing the Not a Booktube Newbie tag. I think it also is called Not So Newbie book tag by some folks. I was tagged by Courtney Ferreter, so I will link to her video below. The original tag is by Shelby Masako, and this tag is a little bit old. It's like 5 years old, so her video was posted in 2016, so this tag's been around the block a little bit. Okay, I always forget to tag people first, especially when I'm doing a tag video, because often the prompt is at the end. So I'm finally following in the footsteps of Scott and Nell at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot and trying to tag people first. So I'm going to tag a handful of people. I tried to look through your channels and see if you'd done this tag yet. So if you have and I missed it, I'm sorry. If you haven't done this tag, I hope you'll consider it. So first I want to tag Rosie Cockshit, who is also just hitting around her 100th video milestone. So Rosie, you're no longer a newbie, I guess, like me. So I tag you. I tag John at Hey Y'all Listen Up, whose channel has been around for a year. And then I want to tag Katya at Read Write Create, who I believe has also been around for a year, and then Amy at Zoe Beck, who I think has been around for a lot longer than a year, but I don't think she's done this tag yet, and as a relatively new follower of her channel, I think I've only been following her for a couple months. Amy, I would love to hear some of your answers to this tag. So as usual, the prompts will be in the description box below, and I will try to remember to go through and do timestamps as well if there are any that you're particularly interested in. So prompt number 1 is, how old is your channel? So I posted my first video on September 29th, so I tend to say October is when I started my channel because that's close enough. And that's of 2020. So my channel is not a year old yet. And I should mention actually that one reason I wanted to do this tag now, I was tagged back in April by Courtney, is because I did just hit the 200 subscriber milestone recently, and I also just hit my 100th video recently. So I think on the day that this video is going up, it will be my 101st video posted on my channel. Close enough. So I also just wanted to say a huge thank you to my subscribers because I've hit that 200 subscriber mark, and so I know the folks who subscribe to me, who I regularly interact with, so thank you guys for your support. But I also wanted to take a second to just say, if you're subscribed to me and regularly watch my videos and you've never said hi, or it's been a while since you said hi, go ahead and just leave a comment and say hi, and maybe tell me what you're currently reading, so I can get to know some more people a little bit. All right. So prompt number 2, what are your favorite videos to make? So I think my absolute favorite videos to make are single book reviews, and especially for a book that I either loved, and so I'm doing sort of a gush review, or a book I want to rant about a little bit, or a mix of both, because sometimes you love to hate on the books you love, right? So those are the most fun, just because those are the things that I'm sort of having a lot of strong emotions and opinions about, and so I'm really excited to share that with people in real life, with Booktube, etc. Tags then, of course, though, can also be fun. So I would say doing those single book reviews are always, always, always the most fun. Tags are always really fun, but they also often involve more prep work. That's not just reading, which is the prep work for a review video, right? But the tag videos, I often have to go find particular books that I want to talk about, or if it's a more of a discussion-oriented tag, I want to watch a lot more of other people's versions of the tag, just to see sort of how the conversation is developing on YouTube before I jump in. So those are fun, but they're often more of a time commitment, and sometimes that can make me be a little bit like, ugh, putting so much work into this tag. So yeah, so I would say I like the tag videos, and I like those single book reviews. Prompt number 3, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone wanting to join Booktube? So I think that partly depends on what different people's goals are. And so I think my first piece of advice would be to be clear, at least with yourself, about what your goals are. Like, some people join Booktube thinking, I'm going to really put a lot of time into this. I want to grow my channel as quickly as possible because I'd like to make a little bit of money to fund my book buying habit. And that's great if those are your goals. If your goal is sort of smaller scale, where you really don't want to focus on channel growth and want to sort of meet people and join buddy reads and things, that's a different goal. And part of the reason why I'm trying to differentiate between the goals a little bit is in the context of the conversation going around about YouTube analytics. And the first video I saw in this conversation was by Claudia at Spinster's Library, who was talking about sort of the ecstasy and shame, I guess, that YouTube can inspire in you because of the way YouTube sort of flags like your successes and failures in your YouTube studio channel. Like YouTube is not shy about telling you when a video is getting fewer views than the video you posted last week, because YouTube is making money off of us through advertising. Even if your channel is not monetized, we're generating content that YouTube is using to make money. So YouTube really cares about that. And so if if the goal in your channel is growth and maybe eventually to make some money, then like that's great. Care about those analytics. That's awesome. But if you're somebody like me and like a lot of other smaller booktubers, YouTube still pushes that at you. And so it could be a little bit like, stop making me feel bad about my videos, YouTube. Like, I'm just having fun here, right? And so I think keeping those goals in mind as you start your YouTube channel and just sort of get used to the YouTube analytics and the sort of the backstage stuff of posting a video can take a lot of the stress off, or at least maybe head off even feeling that stress in general. So that would be one of my pieces of advice, is just to keep your goals in mind, what you want to get out of YouTube. Then another piece of advice I think a lot of people have been saying is don't feel pressure to make certain kinds of videos. I mean, again, if you want to try to get to like 100,000 subscribers, then maybe you should pressure yourself to make like super creative videos or videos that you see performing well on other people's channels, sure. But if you just want to talk about books or want to get started and see how it goes, then yeah, don't feel pressure to do what other people are doing. Just be yourself, talk about the books you like, share what you like and don't like about them. Yeah, and don't worry too much about what other people are doing. And then of course, engage with the community, because that's, I don't know, I feel like that's why we're all here on some level, right? Is to talk with more people about books. So engage with the community through comments and moving into other apps, because a lot of my, of course there's responding to comments, but then a lot of the actual text conversations that I have with people now happen in Twitter and Instagram messages and on Voxer. So yeah, engage with people. And then of course, be kind. The internet can be a really toxic place. And when I say be kind, I don't mean don't call out people. You know, if you like call out people, call them in if you prefer that language and attitude more than calling out. You know, engage in the tough stuff, but be kind when you're doing it, would also be my advice. Okay, then prompt number 4, since joining, have you run into any unforeseen challenges? I don't think so. It's always a challenge to read as much as I'd like to be reading, but YouTube has been helping me prioritize my reading more, so that's awesome. Editing videos, I would say it's a challenge if I actually tried to do it, really, but I don't. I've been pretty upfront about how I'm a full-time scientist and a mother, and reading is my priority, and so I make videos, but my videos are going to be simple for now because I don't have the time to edit them. That would take time away from my reading, which is not what I'm here for. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel like I've run into any unforeseen challenges. Okay, prompt number 5, what is a favorite book or series you've read because of Booktube? So there are a couple different ways that I thought of answering this question. So one way is I've been exposed to some new categories of literature that never even occurred to me to read before. So the best example I have of this is comics journalism, which I was introduced to by Jen over at Remembered Reads. So I will link her video below, or her channel below. And she also did a recent video about comics in general, but included some comments on comics journalism about how to read comics as literature, which I thought was a really cool video. So in January, the first book I read in the new year actually was a comics journalism book. It was Paying the Land by Joe Sacco. And it was super quality journalism about a really tough issue in the real world. In this case, the history of Indigenous peoples of British Columbia, and the residential school history, and then some of the current context of environmental conflict in that region. And it was just a beautiful, thought-provoking way to learn about that issue. So comics I learned about. Then another thing is, recent example is I read The Count of Monte Cristo as part of March of the Mammoths in March. And Count of Monte Cristo, the edition that I have, is over 1,400 pages long. It has been sitting on my shelf since 2009 because I wrote in the cover when I bought it. And I hadn't read it, and I've always wanted to, but it's a very intimidating book. And so YouTube inspired me to pick it up because there was this March of the Mammoths challenge, and then Summer over at Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats organized a small group of people to read it with. So I finally read it. So yeah, I would say some classics and things that have been sitting on my shelves for a while. I'm reading because of Booktube. And then I've been introduced to all new stuff. So I've been being introduced to new romance in particular, and then new fantasy books, which is always a huge deal for me. So I finally read a Robin Hobb book. I started the Live Ship Traders trilogy as part of a read-along hosted by Megan over at Megan's Reading Revelations. And I do need to continue with that trilogy. But yeah, so Booktube has been amazing for exposing me to new stuff and encouraging me to read things that have been on my radar or on my bookshelves and just haven't gotten priority yet. Prompt number 6. So overall, what is your favorite aspect about Booktube? I think everybody says the people, which is totally true. It is so wonderful. I can just go onto YouTube, do a quick search, and I can find somebody who is reading the same book that I'm reading, or wants to read the same book that I'm reading, or has, read it 4 years ago and has a video about it. I mean, it's just amazing to connect with people that are reading the same books that I'm reading. It's like an unlimited book club. And then of course there are the actual friendships that you start to make with the people that you're regularly interacting with. And then I mentioned earlier, you're talking with them in other apps and organizing buddy reads. And so it's lovely. And then just the encouragement to read. Like, it can be really easy if you're just sitting in your house, not talking to people about books, to watch Grey's Anatomy instead of reading your book in the evening, when like you'd really rather be reading the book. And so I sort of have YouTube, I have Booktube in the back of my mind, and it's like, no, read the book, Beth Ann. So I also really love that encouragement. Okay, and then prompt number 7, want to spread the Booktube love? Yes, great. Give a shout out to at least one newbie. So I have 2 that I want to shout out. So one is David Wiley. He started his channel only a month or 2 ago, but he's been putting out a lot of content. And he is an expert in medieval literature, spends a lot of time reading and thinking about medieval literature. And he reads other stuff as well. He reads a lot of fantasy as well, but I'm learning a lot from his channel. So I think you should go check out David's channel. He's starting some new read-alongs, like a monthly medieval read. So in June, we're reading Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which I still haven't started as of filming this video on June 8th. So David, if you watch this, I'm sorry, I'm going to start it really soon and then come converse about it. But yeah, so a monthly medieval read-along, which is really cool. And then the other newbie that I want to shout out is Sue Jackson, who used to be a book blogger, or is a book blogger, and has just recently started a Booktube channel, so going on multiple platforms here. And she is hosting a Big Book Summer Challenge, which I think my TBR for that challenge video has already gone up, so I will link to that below, and I will link to her announcement video. And she reads a lot of general fiction and literary fiction, and I've already added a bunch of stuff she's talked about on her channel to my TBR, so really good books. And she has a lovely speaking voice. She should narrate books. Yeah, just a very lovely presence on Booktube, so go check out her channel as well. Okay, and I almost forgot, I had one more newbie that I wanted to shout out, who I had just put in the wrong part of my notes. So I wanted to shout out Danny at Literary Lion, who is another book blogger who recently started a YouTube channel as well. Her book blog is well established. There's a lot of content on there. She reads a lot of fantasy books, so I've been really enjoying her channel. She gives really, really great reviews and reads a lot of books, so there's always a lot of content over there. So if you're a fantasy reader especially, you should go check out Danny at Literary Lion, her Booktube channel. But thanks for watching this. If you made it this far, go ahead and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks.